The movie opens up in Florida State Prison with a man named Fitzroy. He had come to free a prisoner named Six. Six is told that if he bails him out, he must work for his organization, the CIA. He assigns Six to an elite unit known as Sierra. 18 years later, Six was set on a mission with his colleague Agent Miranda at Bangkok to eliminate a potential threat. After Six has set up his gun, Danny Carmichael, his center chief in charge of CIA operations, briefed him on the mission and the target he is to eliminate. According to Carmichael, the target was selling out informations that could compromise national security. As Six was about to execute the target, he stopped because he noticed a kid near the target. Although Carmichael ordered him to continue with the mission and collateral damage wasn't going to be an excuse. Six disobeyed, saying the gun jammed. He then switched on the emergency alarm. As everyone was in a rush, he took out dining car securities. After a long hard battle, he catches up with Dining Car. Dining Car tells him he was once an operative like him, and his real name is actually Sierra 4. Six then stabs Dining Car. In his dying state, Dining Car tells him that he was recruited by Fitzroy, just like how they recruited Six. He goes on to tell Six that Carmichael is a bad man. He then gives Six a necklace containing a hard drive. He tells Six that you should use the hard drive to bring down Carmichael. Sierra 4 then breathes his last. Agent Miranda meets up with Six. He tells her that Dining Car knew who he was, and in Sierra there wasn't any intel. After a proper search was done on Sierra 4's body, Carmichael was told that the drive wasn't on him. Carmichael, frustrated, then called Six. He tells Six to give him a status report. He then asks Six if he took anything from Dining Car's body, but Six replied negative. Six tried opening the drive, but he discovered it was encrypted. So he gives a stranger the package to take for delivery to someplace it could be decrypted. The next scene opens up in Baku, Azerbaijan. Six had called Fitzroy, who is already in retirement. He tells Fitzroy that Carmichael's ways might not be straight as he was asked to execute a Sierra member. Fitzroy then asks for his location. He tells Six that he would send some local extraction team to keep him safe. Six tells Fitzroy that before Sierra 4 died, he handed him some kind of hard drive that would expose Carmichael. Fitzroy then tells him to get to an airfield in Chiang Mai where his local extraction team would be waiting. In the next scene, Carmichael tells Suzanne, a CIA agent, that Six knew where the drive was and refused to tell him. He tells Suzanne that it was time for him to call up on someone that would handle Six perfectly. The scene switches to Lloyd Hansen, as it established Hansen to be a psychopath who loves torturing his prisoners. Lloyd received a call from Carmichael, telling him he needed to locate and destroy a target called Sierra 6. He goes on to tell Lloyd that Six had some sensitive information that could put them all in a dark place. He tells Lloyd that by any means necessary, he should eliminate Six and retrieve the drive back. Lloyd then tells Carmichael to give him Fitzroy's files, so he could capture someone close to him, and that would guarantee the old man to spill some information concerning Six. Carmichael then tells Lloyd that Suzanne would also assist in the mission. Though Susan was reluctant because she felt Carmichael wasn't doing things the right way. The scene switches to Chiang Mai, the extraction site. Six arrives at the site as he prepared to leave Bangkok with a local team Fitzroy had sent. While Agent Miranda was going over to a mission in Singapore, she received a call from Carmichael telling her to meet him up in Berlin. Meanwhile, Lloyd pays Fitzroy a visit while he was attending a funeral. He tells Fitzroy that he should give up the location of Six or else his niece would die. He tells Fitzroy that he had gone through his file and abducted his niece already. He tells him that the only way to get out from the mess was to give up Six's location. While the local team were transporting Six, they received a call from Fitzroy, telling them to kill Six but do it silently. The leader of the local extraction group then informs his man, but as they got to where Six was taking a nap, he noticed them and fought them so hard. The fight led to a lot of damages on the plane. During the fight scene, the plane was already shredding to pieces as parts of the plane were tearing up. Six managed to take a parachute, but it was hijacked by one of the local team security. Six jumps together with him and landed on his parachute. In the process, strangling the local team soldier to death, on air. After Six had landed in Turkey, he buzzed in Fitzroy. He tells Fitzroy about the plane fight and how his men tried to kill him. Fitzroy then tells Six that they had leveraged him. They got his niece Claire. Lloyd grabs the phone as he was about finishing his conversation. Lloyd tells him that he should get back the asset and he would let him go, but Six refused. Fitzroy teases him, calling him a child. Lloyd then tells Fitzroy that all the Grade A team was after Sierra 6 and there wasn't any place 6 could run to without getting caught. The movie then flashback to 2 years earlier in London. Fitzroy had called in 6. He told 6 that he had a niece she has been training with the help of Margaret. He goes on to tell him that there are numerous enemies after him, especially with this line of his work. Margaret then tells 6 that someone in DC had accidentally leaked Fitzroy's address in Hong Kong, where his niece stays. She goes on to tell them that Fitz is going on a mission in Brazil, and 6 has to babysit Claire, since Carmichael won't provide security for them. Fitzroy then tells 6 that Claire was born with a heart condition and they had put her in a pacemaker. In the next scene, 6 is being introduced to Claire. They began bonding as she even took a photograph of him. Later that night, while 6 was making sure everywhere was safe, Claire calls out his name as she falls screaming in pain. He rushes her to the hospital. At the hospital, he was told that there was a programming glitch. They were able to repair it and now they can keep track of her pacemaker from anywhere. Later that night, when Claire was discharged from the hospital, 6 noticed someone in the apartment. He caught up with him and then beats him up. Claire heard the noise and came out to see what was going on. He tells her to go back to bed, that everything was all right. The movie then switches to present day. 6 have gone to meet up with a man who would process a new passport for him and change his identity. The man asked him to clean up so he could take pictures of him. While 6 was cleaning up, he remembered how his father used to treat him like a maniac back then. After he had finished cleaning up, he was given an Ecuador passport. The man then tells 6 to step over to the platform where he would stay for the photograph. As he was taking pictures of 6, he kicked a button that opened the platform, making 6 fall into a dry well.
Don't you?
The man then tells 6 that a heavy bounty was placed on his head. 6 then tries to burst open the glass with his gun, but it wouldn't break as it was bulletproof. Meanwhile in Berlin, at the CIA station, Agent Miranda goes over to Carmichael for questioning. He tells her that if she knew anything related to 6 whereabouts or where he kept the drive, that she would suffer incalculable damage. He goes on to tell her that they had no information on 6 since the last 2 decades and he was the last Sierra ever remaining. He got a message on his cell phone showing the address they had captured 6. Agent Miranda reads through his glasses as the message was reflecting on them. Lloyd was told that they had captured 6. Meanwhile, 6 was already setting up his escape plan. He burst open all the pipes so water could flow in. Lloyd and his men got to the place where 6 was trapped. As the man who had caught 6 trying to ask for his reward, he was shot dead. Lloyd then orders his men to search the area for 6. As they got to the well where he was trapped, 6 burst open the glass with force from the water. He beats up Lloyd's men in a hot fight, but Lloyd caught up with him. While Lloyd was asking for the drive, he noticed 6 had thrown a grenade and runs out of the house for cover. As 6 was trying to escape, Lloyd caught up with him again, but Agent Miranda came to his rescue by shooting him with a tranquilizer in the ass. She then ordered 6 to get in the trunk of her car. When he refused, she shoots him in the leg with a tranquilizer. The scene then switches to a castle in Croatia, where Lloyd had taken Fitzroy and his niece too. Suzanne, upon their arrival, complains to Lloyd, telling him that he wasn't supposed to kidnap Fitzroy and his niece. She tells him that he wasn't doing it the right way and her career was at stake. Lloyd gets angry, telling her that he is the only hope she is getting that drive back and he has an advantage as he wasn't going to follow their rules and getting things done the right way. In the next scene, we could see Agent Miranda with 6. She tells him that they pulled her out from field duty and he was going to clear her name. She then asked him what he stole from the agency. He tells her that Sierra 4 had given him a drive before he died, but it was encrypted, so he sent it to the UK agency chief Margaret Cahill, who was living in Prague, to help out. Meanwhile, Lloyd was told that during the night of the Bangkok operation, 6 had sent in the package to a person in Prague. Lloyd then goes over to Fitzroy to torture him so he could get answers from him. After plucking off his nails, Fitzroy finally opened up. Agent Miranda and 6 then pays Margaret a visit in Prague. She tells them that the drive contained Carmichael's dirty laundry, all his tortures and assassinations, and that is why 6 is on the ledge. She then tells them to copy the file and leak it to the press. She also volunteered to give him her car, which is bulletproof. As they were talking, Lloyd's men arrived at her place, releasing heavy gunfire while Lloyd watched from home in Croatia. As they were all going for cover, Margaret shows Six a basement where he could use to get away, but then she locks herself out. Six then begs her to open the door, but she refused. She sacrificed herself by blowing up the entire apartment with Lloyd's man in it. Police then arrive at the scene. As they try to arrest Six, he attacks them and flees. They got into a hot chase. The police finally catches up with him after he had got into an accident. They handcuffed him to a bench as Lloyd's Alpha team approached the city square where he was handcuffed. Six tells the police to clear all the people away, but they shut him down. He takes their gun and opens fire in the air as people ran away for cover. The Alpha team then engaged in a heavy gun battle with the police, taking several of their men down. Lloyd's team destroyed majority of the police vehicles, while Six hid for cover. The SWAT team then arrived using the machine gun on Lloyd's men. Lloyd then orders the Bravo team to take out the cops. The SWAT team then fired massively at the Bravo team. They tell Lloyd that they couldn't get to Six as there were too many cops. Six manages to pick up a gun as he fires at the team. After many exchange of gunfire, he cuts loose from the handcuffs and goes inside a moving train. Lloyd's men follows him as they fired heavily at it. Miranda then comes to rescue Six with Margaret's car, but she was chased by the city police. They got into a hot chase, causing a lot of damages. The train crashes as Six jumps into Miranda's car, then they escaped. After Lloyd had found out that all his team were gone, he tells another agent called Avixan to track and retrieve the hard drive. Meanwhile, Six and Miranda goes over to Claire's hospital so they could track and rescue her. They got hold of the hospital swipe card and checked for her location. As they were conversing, Avic caught up with them. He asked for the drive, and when they refused, he effortlessly beats both of them and steals the drive. Miranda and Six then drives over to where Six would be treated, cause he was badly injured. As he was treating his injury, Miranda asked him why he went to prison. He tells her that his father fancied himself a real macho man and wanted him and his brother to follow his path. He started treating them badly and it became obvious he killed his father and was put into prison until Fitzroy found him. In the next scene, Avic goes over to meet Lloyd. He delivers the drive to him. Miranda and Six then arrive at the location where they held Fitzroy and Claire captive. After ambushing some securities, they got hold of heavy gun power. Miranda uses her RPG to destroy the place, while Six went over to rescue Fitzroy and Claire. Miranda on the other hand destroys the control center. Avic then picks up the drive after it had fallen off. Lloyd and his men continued to chase after Six and Fitzroy. Fitzroy then tells Six to continue the journey without him as he was badly injured. He tells him to take care of his niece. When the situation became critical, Six takes Claire and jumps into the river. Fitzroy on the other hand, uses a grenade to blow up Lloyd and his men, hereby sacrificing himself. Luckily Lloyd escapes the explosion. Avic on the other hand got into a fight with Miranda. As he was about to finish her off, he surprisingly gives her the drive. He tells her that Lloyd and his man aren't honorable people and they didn't deserve the drive. He drops the drive and leaves. After engaging in a gun battle with Six, Lloyd captures Claire and held her at gunpoint. Six then throws his gun away as they battled. After Lloyd noticed that he was losing the fight, he brings out his knife. In the process, stabbing Six numerous times. Six then grabs hold of him and pins him down. Suzanne then comes over and shoots Lloyd. After she had killed Lloyd, she tells Six that Lloyd was going to take all the blame for everything and what she needed was just a witness to corroborate her story. She tells him that if he wants to see Claire alive, he has to do everything she asked him to do. She then takes Six to the medics after she noticed he was bleeding out. In the next scene, Carmichael, Suzanne, and Miranda were exonerated by the higher authorities in the CIA. They were clear of criminal charges after Carmichael destroyed the drive. Carmichael then asked Suzanne where they kept Six. She tells him that he was kept in the most secure floor. When Susan and Carmichael arrived at the location where Six was kept, they discovered he had escaped the building. Six then rushes over to save Claire from Suzanne's men who were guarding her house, and the two are happily reunited. Then the movie ends.